Welcome, everybody. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us today. Today is the Lodi Optimist School Board Forum. We have 3 candidates that are running for 2 open seats on the school board. The election is on Tuesday, April 1st for these seats. With us today, we have Heather Barron, Scott Bilsey, and Michael Heidenreich. Yes. How this typically works is that each candidate will be able to give an opening statement that is 2 minutes in length, and then we will open it up to audience questions. We do have 5 classrooms here today, which we are very excited to have you participate with us today. So we are going to highly encourage you to step up to the mic and ask whatever question you might have. You will ask a question to the drawing that we did. Michael will start with the first question, and then Scott and Heather will be able to answer as well. So we will do that until we exhaust all questions, or an hour, whichever way it goes. So again, we encourage you to take the time to step forward and let us know if you want to give your thoughts or you have a question. That's what we're looking for today. So with that, we will start with opening statements. And Michael, you will go first.
Hi, I'm Michael Heidenreich. I have been a resident of this community for about 10 years now. I have 2 kids one just graduated and is at UW now, but she graduated from Lodi High School, and my other daughter is coming into Lodi High School next year. I have wanted to take part in this community more, and this seemed like the best way to do it, and I'm so very happy that this opportunity came up. I have been working up at the power plant south of Portage for the last 16 years with Lions Energy. So I have been around schools all my life. Pretty much all my parents and grandparents were teachers, and I spent way too much time during the summer laminating things for my aunt. So this is familiar territory for me. If any of you have any questions, even if it's not up at a forum, please come up to me and ask.
Thank you. And Scott?
Thank you. My name is Scott Bilsey, and for the last 3 years, I've had the honor and privilege to serve on the Lodi School Board. During that time, I've learned a great deal about what it means to be a board member and how the school district of Lodi functions. The last 3 years have provided me with invaluable experience, which I hope to use if I am able to continue as a member of the Lodi School Board. A bit about me. I'm a lifelong resident of Lodi. I was raised in Lodi and graduated from Lodi High School. Both my parents were educators, including my father, Alan, who taught in Lodi for many years. My wife, Dory, also a lifelong resident and Lodi graduate, have 2 sons, Avery and Aiden. They are both graduates of the Lodi school system. Avery is currently a safety engineer at Westfall Electric, and Aiden will be graduating from Winona State this spring. I am currently employed by SSM Health, where I work in orthopedic surgery at St. Mary's Hospital in Madison, Wisconsin, as a physician assistant. The Lodi community and the Lodi School District have been very good to both myself and my family. One of my reasons for running for a second term is to serve both the community and the school district that has done so much for both myself and my family. My hope is that I am able to serve both the community and the school district in some small way and provide our students and staff the tools they need for success while balancing the needs and resources of the community. Every decision I make as a board member balances these 2 issues: district needs and community resources and community input. I believe that strong community support helps to make our schools strong and sets everybody in the school district up for success. It is a partnership, and I do my best to keep this in mind when I make decisions as a board member. Thank you for the opportunity to meet with you all today. I appreciate the opportunity to discuss issues that are important to our students, staff, and community members.
Thank you, Scott. And Heather?
My name is Heather Barron, and I'm running for my second term of the Lodi School Board. And I've been very humbled and honored to be voted the board president by my fellow board members for the last 2 years. I would like to start off by thanking the Optimist Club for putting on this forum and to all the teachers and staff that have helped accommodate it for today. I would also like to thank everyone that is present today, including the students. My husband and I are both Lodi graduates. 3 of our kids are Lodi graduates, and our youngest is attending Lodi High School. I absolutely love being on the school board, and I'm so grateful and appreciative of being able to have this experience. Originally, when I ran for my first term, I was mainly motivated by my own children's mental health related to school and COVID. But now, being on the board, that motivation has evolved into so much more. I take this role extremely seriously and am incredibly grateful to be here. Even though I've played several roles in this district, student, volunteer, parent, and board member, I know that there are more perspectives than my own opinion on subjects that the board has to make decisions on. I always love hearing from people to get as much info as possible before making a decision. I consider myself very open-minded while still remembering my own values and beliefs. I am always aware of the fact that kids all have different interests, different talents, different learning styles, and are from different walks of life. I always try to find the balance of giving our students as many opportunities as possible while still keeping in mind that our district does not have a blank check. I've tried to learn as much as possible being on the board these last 3 years, and I know there is still so much more to learn. I would love to be able to have the opportunity to be on the board to plan for our next referendum and to do our strategic plan refresh, since all these things were already in place when I originally got on the board. Lastly, I would like to thank everyone that has supported me through this journey, inspired me to do better, and encouraged me to run for my first and now second term. I would not be here today without all of you, and I would like to thank our entire community for making our community something that I am so proud of and want to represent.
Thank you. Thank you to each of our candidates for their opening statements. Now we will move to audience questions. Please, as you approach the microphone, the one thing that we would ask is that you state your name, full name, and what city or township that you reside in. So whoever would like to start, we welcome a question.
Hello, I'm Patty Herman. I'm from the city of Lodi, and I always have questions for everybody. My question is, there's a lot of talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion these days. A lot of people want to see that whole term just done away with, including in our schools. How do you feel about that? What's your stand on that?
Michael will go first.
I don't think we need to do away with diversity, equity, and inclusion. I think it's been demonized for quite a bit. I think people use it as an excuse to demonize people who are not really that different from them. All the people who would come under that over the years, they're no different than us. And most of our students, I mean, they're not going to, I think they watch us for an example. And I think the example we need to set is you treat people how you want to be treated. That stuff is going to solve itself. And we need to show them that example.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
To dovetail off what Michael said, I don't have any problem with the term, but I believe that those terms have been demonized. I believe that the intent of the teachings with regards to what you reference are sound and are important for our students and our staff and our community to be aware of. So I would be opposed to the idea of taking that out of our schools.
I think we're all in agreement up here is obviously all those things are important for sure. Same thing is that it's turned into such a political and diversive stuff is that, so all those terms, people literally get like a bad taste in their mouth, which is really, really sad because that needs to be very important in our schools. But we also have to make sure that it's not having another motive for something else. And also we need to know that we want to include everybody, but we can't, we can't make a small group overtake the wants and needs of a larger group. But we still need to include everybody. We want to make sure everyone feels safe, supported, But some of those terms, unfortunately, have different terms for different people. But when it comes down to the basics of including everybody, making everyone feel safe, that's what our school needs to do, and that's hopefully what we do.
Thank you for your question. The next question, we'll start with Scott.
Hi, I'm Hayden Struce Clark, and I live across the street here in Lodi. You were all talking about how you want to help the school and what you can do for the school, and I was wondering, what are some specific ideas and things you want to accomplish if you do get elected?
I think that the Lodi School District right now is in a very good place. I think we have excellent administration. I think we have excellent teaching staff. And frankly, I think our students are second to none. If there are issues or concerns that the students have, I invite them to bring them forward to teaching staff, administration, so that they can be forwarded to members of the school board if they need to be. My goal as a school board member, and one of my reasons for deciding to run for a second term, is to essentially try to keep the momentum that I believe the school district has built going and moving forward, continuing with our excellent athletic programs, continuing with our forensics, continuing with our mock trial, continuing with our travel abroad programs. All these things, continuing with advancing our tech program, all these things that where I sit as a board member and look out over the community and over the district, I think are paying massive dividends with what I am seeing with the end product, the students that we're producing. I think that all of the students in our district should be very proud of what they are doing, and my goal as running for another term is to try to continue to allow them the opportunities that they have now.
I would say, I mean, like Scott said too, our district's in a really, really good spot. And my goal is to always provide as many opportunities and experiences for you guys to get you ready for the world after high school and our district. So I want you to learn all of the obviously the basics, the subjects that you guys might not love, but you need to know. But I also want you to learn just the lifelong skills, the social stuff. I want you to learn, that you work towards goals, it's gonna pay off. So all of that stuff is what I really want. But I always wanna hear from you guys, because we are not living your life. We aren't here day to day, and the more that we hear from you guys of what you need and what you want, that even motivates us more to do better.
Michael?
One of the things that I've come to realize is how much getting the community involved with this kind of thing is important. If it's not coming from you, then we're not going to be able to do a very good job. I could want to do 100 different things, but if that's not the priority that the community is looking for, it's not going to get resolved, because we need all of your help. And so that's why I think this community, or this refresh of our core values is going to be so important, because we're going to want you guys to come in and tell us, hey, this is what we want to accomplish at this school. Me personally, what I would love to see is more emphasis on interfacing with apprenticeships and things of that nature. I work a blue-collar job, and we are looking for people all the time. And it's very often that the entire focus of school is to get to college. And I'd like to see some more focus put on all aspects of life, because there's jobs out there all the time that go unfilled because no one's going to apply for them because they don't have the skills. And I think there's a lot of people in this community that would find value in that as much as any other job that they can go to. And basically, we want to hear from you, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you for that question. The next question will start with Heather.
My name's Jessica Kern, and I live here in Lodi. You all said that you wanted to provide for us and make sure that we have what we need. But what are you going to do for the minorities, like the people with mental disabilities, physical disabilities, things like that?
So just recently, our school has partnered with a mental health facility. So to be honest, I'm going to talk a little personal experience. My daughter needed some mental health issues, or she had some mental health, and she wanted to get some help. And this was kind of during COVID, which was a mess, obviously, and there was a huge waiting list. So our school recognized that, and we said, we can't have these kids waiting for so long. So we have partnered with a mental health facility, and you guys can actually sign up and you can go during the day if you want, or in the evening with your parents, or whatever you'd like, and it's obviously, nobody will know. It's not like you're, broadcasting it. And then we are constantly trying to, I know surveys, everybody loves the surveys, right? But that really is trying to get a take on what you guys are feeling and what you need personally. So we're always reaching out to everybody, trying to get a feel, so you don't have to always have to come in. We're hoping to give opportunities that it's easy to talk to people you trust. And as far as minorities, we're always offering support too for counseling and all that, or if they just need help at home, or I know we have a lot of different languages in our school too, and we provide support for that too.
Michael?
I look at this as when you're saying, what are we doing for minorities specifically? It's very often going to be, what do we need to do? And that's going to be something that you can help us learn. We can't be in your homes, we can't be in your lives fully and know what you need help with. But what we can be is available to talk to. So if you have a problem, come talk to someone on the school board. Come talk to someone who can communicate what you need to us. We're going to be open to that. That is something that I have been made as abundantly clear as I can to everyone I talk to is, if you have an issue with the school, we want to hear about it, because we may not know about your issue until you bring it to us. But you're going to find very open ears to whatever you have as an issue, and we're going to work on it and try and solve it. Without knowing specifically what the issue is, that's something we'll have to work out together. But you will definitely find someone who will listen to what you have as an issue and try and help you solve it.
We're going to treat those people, those students, no different than we treat any other students. We're going to do our best to provide whatever services we need to meet their needs. Heather touched on this briefly. We have our partnership with our mental health providers in Wanakee that are available for students to utilize as needed. Our LCAT program that the school supports and has brought in to the school district to help students if they have extra or those types of needs. We have a student services program here at the school that we get reports on monthly at our board meetings and are available for additional discussion for additional needs if they present themselves. We have a program that students that graduate from the high school, if they need additional needs, they can get additional life training after school, continue to support that program. Bullying has recently become an issue, and we've tried to work to address bullying issues by setting up programs for staff and for community members and students as well. My take on bullying is that with regards to bullying, people that are doing it need education and need to know that it's not okay, and that the school and the district and the board takes that seriously. So in summary, try to continue to support all of our students with the needs that they may have.
Thank you. The next question, we'll start with Michael.
Piggyback on that last question, my name is Mike Gomar. I'm from the city of Lodi. So you guys all mentioned a lot of services and programs. With the current environment from Musk, the president, federal, I'm assuming a lot of those programs and services are federally funded. Do we have strategies, and if I'm incorrect, please correct me, but if any of those programs and services are at risk, do we have strategies to proactively or reactively get out in front of some of the federal cuts that seem to be coming right down the corner, so that the students, the minorities, those in need, that those in need of those services can still get them, even if the federal money and services are not available?
Excellent question. And one of the reasons why I was interested in joining the school board, actually, because when it became fairly obvious that that was the case, I wanted to be part of those decisions. And to some degree, we're a little bit insulated from that because a lot of the programs we have are state or locally funded, but we are aware of the fact that federal funding may become an issue. And yes, we absolutely, that will be a large part of future budget requests, future referendums, anything that is included in that. We're aware that that's going to be a problem going forward. We're not blind to that, and definitely will be something we're going to be planning as though it's not going to be there, because we want to be able to continue to provide these programs to our kids. And we want to be able to see that our teachers continue to have the support that they need, because it's not really fair to them to suddenly have an interruption in their lives just because someone else decided to interrupt things. Thank you.
Well, Mike, I think you hit on what one of the main, if not the main, responsibilities of a school board member is, and that's balancing funds and determining where to spend the funds. I personally have some level of optimism with regards to school funding from the state level, from what I've recently heard from our administration, specifically Dr. Breinig. So I am hopeful that we may see an additional influx of funding from the state, which would go a long way in addressing the issue that you brought up. But that is a constant struggle as far as we have a fixed amount of money in our pot, and where do we best spend it? If, to your point, to your question, if we see a decrease in our funding, then it will be up to the board to determine the best ways to spend what we have remaining. Michael hit on it briefly too. Our emergency plan would potentially be the referendum that will be coming up, and what the board, when it comes time to set that referendum, determines the needs of the district and what they believe that the community is willing to support in order to get that approved.
One thing I've learned from being on this board is that our administration works with our board very well, and they are very good planners. We talk about things way in advance. I actually just asked our curriculum director, Dr. Carls, and our business manager this exact question the other day. I was curious about it. And right now, there's nothing that, they're not telling us anything, and it's really not gonna happen tomorrow, for sure. And that makes me feel confident in that our administration is gonna plan way in advance if we do have to find different funding for different things. It does sound like a lot of our federal funding would possibly affect our special education, which if Lodi puts that pretty up on the totem pole, obviously. So I think, and obviously they've talked about other things kind of filling in for the money that might be coming. That's why I wanted to talk to our administration, because the media loves to throw out different things at you and scare you and do whatever. So, but yes, as far as Scott said it too, is that we are constantly looking way ahead and making those decisions that are gonna affect, and not all of a sudden be taken off guard and think, oh my God, we have to cut this right away. There's gonna be lots of planning, and we definitely will, that's already been talked about, so. Great question.
Good question. Next question is going to be directed at Scott first.
Well, if it's all right, while we're waiting for a question, to just kind of dovetail a little bit further off of what you're talking about, Mike, our referendum that we're currently in approved a certain amount of money for capital projects. When the monies were set aside for these projects over a 5-year period of time, the cost at the time of the referendum versus a few years down the road to do the projects was not a match. So we have to make decisions about what projects we can do and can't do. It's not exactly what you're asking, but we have to maybe scale back the work, for example, to stay within
If the science club wants to start
budget.
trying to make a seed for a money tree, that would be really appreciated.
Go ahead, question?
Good afternoon. My name is Bill Whipperforth.
Oh,
He didn't ask a question, he dropped the mic.
yeah.
Well, I must have warmed it up. So I'm a past board member. I have a number of questions. I'll ask them one at a time. For the incumbent board members, what learning experiences through the WASB, so in other words, that's outside the school district, did you attend? Did you attend the state school board convention? Did you attend many of the seminars? Or for Mr. Heidenreich, where do you fit in? What's your philosophy on going forward?
I think I'm up first. I have not attended them. They have occurred when I have not been in the state of Wisconsin. I've been at a medical conference, so I have not been able to attend them during my time on the school board. I go to a medical conference every year that just happens to coincide with the timing of the meeting you're referring to.
I've been able to attend the state convention the last 3 years, and I've gone to a couple seminars. They're very, very helpful. It's awesome to hear from other school districts. There's always things that you can, you sit there and you think, oh, we could do that. That's pretty cool. But most of the time, I'm sitting up there thinking, Lodi is pretty awesome, because we do a lot more than other districts do. Even, people think little old Lodi, but we do a lot, and it's pretty awesome to go to those, because it really is eye-opening. And it's just awesome to see all these people that care so much about the same things that you do.
I definitely intend to attend pretty much every method I can do to learn more about this job and how best to accomplish it. I intend to attend them. One of the reasons why I was able to consider doing this is because my work got a lot less crazy, and I'm no longer working 90-some hours a week. So now I can actually attend things like this and volunteer and do things I've wanted to do for some time. I actually think I have attended one of those before with my father a long time ago, because he was a teacher down in Racine Unified, and I remember that phrase, and I was a kid, so I didn't actually learn anything very much, but I have been there before, and I intend to go again.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Before Bill, you ask your next question, does someone else have a question? Otherwise, we will allow Bill to ask one more. Okay, oh, we have a student. We'll let her ask one, Bill.
My name is Catherine Fry. I live in, I forgot where I live.
Town of Lodi, City of Lodi, Dane.
West
Town of
Port-
Lodi. There we
There you
go.
go.
So, I see about half of our school in and out of our weight room every day, and it's very small, and I was wondering if you had any plans to expand the weight room or weight equipment, because like half of the sports more than that are a part of our school use it, and yeah.
Heather, that's you.
Thank you for saying something, because I've been looked at sometimes by other adults that don't have a son coming home complaining about it every day. And they think, oh, our weight room's awesome. And it is. It's great. We did, if you guys, I'm sure you know, we did do some stuff to it. It's definitely an improvement. We put some money towards that. The referendum, we do have to talk about a lot of our green space and facilities. This current referendum, we wanted to focus more on some other stuff, and we asked the public when we did our strategic plan, and they said, stay away from green space and all that for now. But we did know that the weight room really needed some updating. Someone the other day kind of brought up an idea of maybe doing like a weight room in the middle school, so then you don't have the younger kids coming up and taking some of the high school spots. I don't know if that's a possibility. It's obviously, Dr. Breinig's probably looking at me like, Heather, stop it. So I get that a lot from him. But anyways, but it's definitely in the talk, because we know that you athletes and non-athletes want to get in there and get in shape, and we want to give you a good facility to do it in. So it is talked about quite often, and we did do some stuff, but we're hoping to do even some more. So thank you for that.
Being a former high school athlete and spending way too much time in the weight room, yeah, that will definitely be in a priority, because I think physical fitness is such an important thing for keeping students engaged and actually their overall life. And so, yes, that will be a priority. And this is the kind of thing where we're very happy to hear from you, because we may not be aware that as bad as it is for you. So please continue to bring such stuff up to us, and now we know, and we'll bring it up, and we'll make it a priority. So yeah.
The board utilized ESSER funds, which were funds provided by the federal government in response to COVID, to do a recent upgrade to the weight room. But the one thing that we could not do with those funds was to enlarge the footprint. So we tried to update it with new equipment and make it just a more pleasant place to be. But I am very aware of the size constraints with regards to the weight room. Heather alluded to it. As we move forward with our referendum planning, we have a facility and green space plan that we are working on. And to me, what that includes as far as the facility is looking at options to try to enlarge the footprint of the weight room. The only way that we would likely be able to do that would be to add on or build on to the school. I would like to see that incorporated into a plan for the wrestling room. My belief is that the wrestling room is too small and that it needs to be enlarged. Earlier this week, I drove by the school with a youth wrestling program, and I was amazed. The parking lot was full. The lanes going out to the road had cars parked on them. I'm going to go over, sorry.
Every
And
time.
there's parking on the street. Wrestling is and I know you didn't ask specifically about wrestling, but wrestling is big in Lodi. Lodi is a wrestling community. If we can garner community support and I'm elected for another term, my goal is to try to enlarge the weight room and the wrestling room as a part of the referendum moving forward.
Thank you, Scott. Thanks for the question. And my 2 cents is the board has done a phenomenal job on the weight room. We utilize it with crew all the time, so hats off to you guys. Next question, we're going to start with Heather. And Bill, you have another question?
So at any rate, I forgot to say I'm from the town of Dane, the thriving metropolis town of Dane. The previous board was looking at upgrading the boys' baseball field. And it's a big project. And once you fix one field, you have to be able to replace it for a season. That was something that was in the planning 3 years ago. Where are you now? Or for Mr. Heidenreich, what do you see in the future?
So that is talked about quite often, and we all leave the meeting scratching our heads and knowing that there's no easy solution, because as you said, and you know, is that we change, and Dr. Breining has said this several times, the track was easy, the track is just by itself, but when we touch those baseball and softball fields and figuring out what we're doing, we change one thing, it's gonna affect the other thing, and on and on and on. So we plan on doing a very big community engagement session, and we want to hear from our community on what their thoughts are, what we are needed. We want to hear from coaches, we want to hear from students, community members, and even if you don't have a kid in the district, we want to hear from you, because obviously that's going to be your taxpayer money too. So we plan on really talking to the community and kind of seeing where it's at. I am not on the Facility and Finance Committee, but I know that they are working hard on it and they're constantly talking about it, and that will most likely be in the next referendum for sure. But again, we're going to ask for community input because we want to make sure that whatever we do is going to try to make as many people as possible happy. Michael?
And building off of that, also because the community genuinely has some pretty good ideas. And I think if the more we involve you all, the better we're going to be able to plan in a way that will actually not affect people who we might not be aware of. If you didn't come to something like this, or if you didn't tell us, hey, this is going to affect us if we suddenly have a bunch of traffic in a place that there was no traffic before. We want to involve all of you. So if you hear someone's comment about that, tell them to come talk to us. We really want to hear what you have to say, because this is more of a situation where the more hands we have involved, the better the solution is going to be, because it's going to be for more people. And we're going to be planning this for some time, so it's going to take a while to actually come up with a way to accommodate such a large construction project. And the more input we have from you, the better off we're going to be.
Thank you. Does any other student have a question they'd like to come up and ask
I
so
should
far?
probably answer that.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're going to let Scott answer that question.
Thanks for asking the question, Bill. It's been something that's been very much on my mind. Our treasurer and chairman of the Facility and Finance Committee is sitting here today, and you can ask Adam. I'm always asking him about it because I'm not on that committee either. I know that we've been working with an engineering company. We have a number of different plans and a number of different sites, mainly on grounds that the school currently owns. My understanding, as I'm not a part of the Facility and Finance Committee, is that we will be engaging, and Heather alluded to this, the community to get their thoughts and their ideas on us moving forward as a district on relocating the baseball field. The field in Dane is beautiful. It has served the district very well, and I know there are strong feelings on the side of wanting to keep it in Dane. My concern with the baseball diamond in Dane is the transport back and forth of especially our younger athletes getting back and forth to that baseball diamond in Dane and the traffic and the transportation that's required to get there. My hope and my goal is that we are able to find a way to put a diamond in Lodi. That will require community support. That is a significant expense, and that is something that would have to be looked at in the setting of our referendum moving forward. So if you're keeping score, I want to do a baseball diamond, I want to do a weight room, I want to do a wrestling room, and we're going to see where we get with this. We're going to plan for it, and we'll see what the community is willing to support.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I'm Malik Buckley. I'm a student of Lodi High, and I live in the city of Lodi. And I'd like to ask about the hoods policy. Do you guys think that's going to stand or get removed, or how are you guys going to deal with that? Because, like, you know, wearing a hood in school, you guys may think it's, like, hard to address someone, but, like, what if there's someone, like, you know, who has a bad haircut or something like that and just feels, like, bad about themselves, you know, and they just don't want to get bullied, you know? But then it's like, oh, there's a hoods policy, you got to take it down. So then that kid's so depressed, he goes home crying, and, you know, something happens, and that kid isn't with us anymore. Like, what, like, hoods, you know, some people, like, just hoods. Hoods are not that big of a deal, you know? Like, you know who that person is walking. Like, hey, that's my dog CJ, you know what I'm like? Come on now. You know, you can identify him. It's not like we got 700 kids in a grade where you can't identify them, but, like, hoods are hoods, man. Like, they tough.
Did we get a
gotta be-
question out of that,
Yeah,
young man?
So can we wear hoods in school? Like, how are you guys gonna address that?
And that's going to go,
So
so the question is, you'd like to know if you can wear a hood in high school?
Yes, if we can get the hoods
Let's
policy
go
appealed.
direct to the question. Can I wear a hoodie during the day in high school?
Yep.
Gotcha. We're starting with Michael on this one.
That is a great question. I don't have a problem with you wearing a hood. I don't dress like this normally. You'll normally see me in a hoodie. So I don't personally have an issue with it. I wasn't even aware that was a rule because I've never had anyone say anything about it, but I guess it is. So me personally, I don't have a problem with that.
So there's a policy, I'm asking, there's a policy right now that you can wear a hooded sweatshirt, but you can't have the hood up? That's the policy?
And I'm going to guess headwear.
Okay. So my response to that would be I would talk with the administrative team, I would talk to the staff, and I would find out the reason for the rule. And depending upon the reasons that they gave me, I would then make my decision regarding whether or not it was okay or not for me to say as a board member, you can wear a hoodie. I guess I personally don't have a problem or see a problem with it, but again, I would want to discuss that with principals and administrative staff to understand the reason and the rationale behind the rule.
So every school has rules, and the board actually doesn't make those rules. We do approve them, like they come and say, this is our school policies and our handbook. So yes, we end up approving them, but we don't make those decisions. I'm assuming it has to do with something with probably headphones and stuff like that, right? So you guys can't have your headphones in during class, maybe? I don't know. But, I mean, yeah, personally, I wouldn't have a problem with it, but I'm also not the principal and the vice principal and the teachers that are getting disrupted during class. Do you have more to say? Well, partly is because it's so, I've learned in being on the board that you have to stay in your own lane. So I can bring up things to the principal and Dr. Breinig and all that, but really it's also, it comes down to what they have to deal with every day. I'm not here dealing with the hoods and all the rules of the school. So usually what would happen is we would ask them, why did you do this? And then they usually give us a really good answer for it. But I would say, and I'm not like saying to like cause a revolution here, but anytime you guys have questions or issues on stuff like that, it's pretty impressive when a group of students will actually like do their research and do like a whole PowerPoint presentation or something and prove to these administrators that you actually could handle something like that. So it's an idea. You guys could always, if there's a group of you and get going on it, I'm sure they would listen, if nothing else.
Yeah, and to Heather's point, before every board meeting we have, where the full board is sitting there, there's an opportunity for public input. Students can come and give public input. If you have something that you're concerned about, if you have something that you don't agree with, go through those channels. If you want to get something in front of us, that's a good opportunity to be able to present your case. We can't dialogue with you, but we can at least be made aware.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for your question. Any other questions?
I want to add really quick too. I think there was a few years at the middle school didn't allow kids to dress up for Halloween, and there was a group of students in our kids' grade that literally went to the principal, and the principal said, "Go ask Mr. Breining and the board," and they came, and now middle school can dress up. So it does work. It does work. See, you should have been part of that group.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry.
My name is Lexi Bishop, and I was wondering if you guys have any plans on furthering our language classes. We learned that you best learn other languages when you're 7, but here we don't learn until we're 13. And in other countries, we have, for foreign exchange programs, for example, we sometimes struggle with like communicating as well as they do. As one of my dear friends, Aitana, over there, she's from Spain, and she can fluently talk to me. But if I tried talking to her in Spanish, it would be very limited.
Okay.
I believe Scott is on that one to start.
Well, I think you make a very valid point. To directly answer your question, there is nothing that I am currently aware of. To me, the channels that, as a prospective board member for reelection would go through would be to talk with Dr. Carls and find out what kind of offerings would be available, to then discuss potentially with the curriculum committee and have the curriculum committee look into that more broadly and gather more research, more data, and then to bring that back to the board. The potential hang-up that I could see with what you're asking about would be staffing to be able to provide the education for those classes. Right now, the district owes a debt of gratitude to all of our teachers, because there's a shortage out there for high school teachers. And we're very happy as a district to have the staff that we have. But my initial reaction to what you're saying is it makes perfect sense, but the practicalities of it would be something that would have to be worked out. And one thing that I see as a potential difficulty with that would be being able to get the proper staff to teach those classes. But perhaps there are options that I'm not aware of that Dr. Carls and the curriculum committee would be able to enlighten me on.
That is a great question, because it's obviously been proven that when you learn earlier like that, you're obviously just going to know it better and be able to talk more fluently. We have not discussed that, but seriously, your question, I'm definitely going to just bring it up to Dr. Carls and say, is this something that we can, at least look into? Maybe, like Scott said, I mean, staffing will definitely be an issue, and it always comes down to money, money, money. No, I think that's a great thing to start thinking, even if we can do maybe even like a little session of it. It doesn't have to be a whole year of it when you guys are little, and you guys can keep building on it every year or something. So, but I think that's a great thing to bring up, for sure.
Your name was Lexi? Lexi, I'm going to put this before you because you brought it up and you have friends who speak other languages. This is something that Scott may be right. I don't know yet whether or not we can afford to do that. You are definitely correct that an earlier exposure to a foreign language is by far the best way to learn and the most natural. This is something that we could use community resources to provide an early exposure to a foreign language. We have many people who speak many different languages in this community, and that is the kind of thing that the community can organize. My daughter went to church in another language, and she speaks very fluent Spanish now. Not as good as she wants to, but she can understand a lot better than I can. And that's the kind of exposure that it's not necessarily something pushed at you as in a school setting. It might be something best served by being exposed to it in your personal life. And that's the kind of program that we don't necessarily have to allocate funds to, but we can make happen by saying, hey, let's make this happen, and putting people like you to work on it. So I'm challenging you. Start looking at this. Start thinking of ways that we can expose our younger members of our community and get them learning languages earlier, because you're absolutely right. It's the best way to do it.
Thank you for that great question. We have time for one more question. If someone would like to ask one more question of our board.
Yeah, hello. My name's Ken Mayberry. I'm a resident of the city of Lodi. And my question is around the upcoming future referendum. I've heard it mentioned a number of times, and just curious what your priorities would be for that referendum as far as what things you would like to see included. I know, Scott, you've touched on that a little bit, but what things you'd like to see included, and if there's anything specifically you would not want to see included.
Okay. Yes, I feel like we talk about the referendum and the upcoming one even a lot at the board level, because like I said, we are definitely planners. We are, actually next week, we're gonna have a meeting and we're gonna do our strategic plan refresh, and we want to know from the community what they want out of the referendum. I might have some personal feelings here and there, but really it's gonna come down to what the community wants and needs from our school district. We are always looking to update our technical and our STEM research, or our STEM classes. Those are huge, just because that's been growing so much, and obviously you can use it in so many fields of work after high school. So that would be something. And then, of course, like we've mentioned, our green space definitely needs to be touched on, because we didn't do a lot of this last referendum, which is what the community wanted, and that's great. But we're gonna have to do something soon. But like I said, we wanna hear from the community. So I'm putting that out there now, hopefully, when people watch this, that we are gonna be doing that whole refresh again. So the more input from people, the better. And then we'll just make sure that we get what everybody needs and wants.
The nice thing about us going to do that refresh ahead of this referendum is that we can get what you want to see as most important put in. And the evidence is in what we've prioritized in the past. When this community input was first introduced, as I understand it, they've actually pretty closely followed what the community actually wanted. So you want us to do something? Come to those meetings. We're not asking for a lot of your time, but we are asking for your input, because that is the best way for us to know how we proceed forward. Me personally, I definitely, I don't know how many members of my family are teachers, I definitely want to see our teachers continue to be a priority in terms of being something we actually are trying to attract the best teachers we can to this district. But it's going to be entirely up to the community and also the students. We want to hear what you have to say, and we want to include you in that process.
I look at the referendum as the district has needs and the district has wants. And currently, the referendum is broken up into the operational portion and then basically the facility improvement portion. I look at needs as the operations. 80% of our school budget is basically spent on staff. I want to continue to keep our level of staff where it's at. So that in turn allows us to continue to keep the programs that we have in place. I don't want to see us have to cut staff because we can't get a referendum passed. I don't want us to have to cut programs. So I prioritize the portion of the referendum that's going to allow us to essentially continue to keep our district functioning in the same capacity that it's functioning in right now with the staff and the programs that we have to offer. I alluded to it earlier as far as what I view as wants. My wants are the facility and the green space plan. I am hopeful that the community will be willing to consider supporting, for example, a baseball diamond. Is that a need? Nope, we've got a perfectly good diamond in Dane. It's a want. I would want to try to enlarge the wrestling room. I would want to try to enlarge the weight room. Are they absolute must-haves? Absolutely not, but those are things that I would look at moving forward with the next referendum. And I know I'm over, but just briefly to dovetail on what they've said, community input and community support is going to be absolutely critical. We do not have all the answers with what it pertains to as far as what we put on the referendum for vote. Whoever's on the board, not just the 2 up here that get elected, but the 7 people are going to need input from the community as far as what they feel is important to help guide us as far as, or to help guide whoever's on the board to determine what the next referendum is composed of when it goes to vote in November 27.
November 2026.
No, 26 or 27? November
26.
2026. And we're going to be starting the process of planning. Sorry, I keep saying we. I'm on the board right now. I don't know that I will be after the election. The board will start the process of preliminary planning this spring. And that'll include a questionnaire, a survey that goes out to the community. Again, community and district working hand in hand.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you. I know we had a class that had to get to their next class, so we appreciate that they gave us their time today. We appreciate the students here and the wonderful questions that you gave the board. We will do closing statements now. We'll start with Heather, but just to reiterate that this is an April 1st election. 2 members of the board sitting up here, the people sitting up here will be elected to the next school board. So Heather?
I would be so honored to be able to keep pursuing my passion for this district. Being on this board has been so eye-opening, so inspiring, and makes me so proud to be a part of this community. There are so many things to learn and take in, and I feel like I'm just getting started. I truly believe that our world is a better place when all of us are working together. Clear communication and transparency between our district, our families, our students, and our community is vital to our youth's success. My wish for our students is to feel challenged while still being supported, encouraged to think critically and empathetically, and to learn life skills that will last a lifetime. I want our students to know that they can change the world, but don't expect the world to cater to you. It's okay to struggle and make mistakes as long as you learn from them. I want our kids to learn from our world's history, the good and the bad. And I want our kids to be proud of who they are while still respecting other views. I'm not naive to the fact that schooling involves way more than what happens in the classroom. The more opportunities and experiences that we give our students can teach them everyday skills like time management, managing social situations, and understanding that it's okay to fail sometimes. And through all the learning and growing, we can't forget that kids still need to have fun. I want Lodi students to have the motivation to make goals and the confidence to achieve those goals. I want them to know that they can do whatever they set their minds to, while also understanding it won't always be easy. As a current board member and hoping to be able to serve another term, I have and will always put our students first. And with our kids being the priority, we have to understand that our kids' success will only happen if our students, families, teachers, and our community are all working together. I would be honored for your vote on April 1st. With your vote, I know you are entrusting me with decisions that affect the ones that you love the most, and I will not take it for granted. Thank you.
Oh, I'm not.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was you.
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the Lodi Optimist Club for hosting today's event. I would also like to thank everyone who attended today, especially our high school students. It is my hope that you are all able to learn more about each of the three candidates. I believe there are three people up here today that care deeply about the Lodi School District. Whoever is elected to the school board will have some very big issues to consider during their three-year term. These include, but are not limited to, the facility and green space plan for the district as well as the referendum. These are additional reasons I am running for re-election. If elected, I look forward to working with staff, administration, and the community members on making these important decisions. My goal, as it has always been, would be to weigh the needs of the school district with the wishes of the community and the resources available. I am very aware that the dollars we spend at the district level come out of the pockets of our community members. I look forward to the opportunity to discuss projects such as the school forest, our softball and baseball needs, as well as options for a new wrestling practice facility, just to name a few. Community input will be critical, and I would plan to work closely with both staff and community on these important issues. As mentioned in my opening statement, I believe experience is a very valuable asset to have on the board. There is so much to learn about the functioning of the district. My 3 years on the board will help me to continue the work that we are doing at the board level. Finally, I want to take a moment to mention the current board members. We have a level of mutual respect for one another that allows us to work well with one another. We can disagree on an issue, discuss it, see others' perspectives, and come to a decision. In my opinion, the board functions as a school board should. I want to take a moment to publicly thank Dr. Breinig and the other members of the board for this. It is my goal to continue in this role to serve the district and the community to the best of my abilities, and thank you all for attending today.
I would like to thank you very much all for attending today, especially the kids coming here. And I'm going to tell you right now that no matter what, we're going to continue to challenge you directly to take part in this, because how much you take part in it and how much you bring to it is how much we're going to be able to change it how you want. You all are our future. You're the reason why I decided to come and volunteer to do this, because I'm going to have a daughter at this high school. I have had kids here in the past, and I cannot tell you how proud we are of the work you guys have done and are continuing to do. But this is where you're going to make the transition into adulthood, and this is going to be on you now. And the reason why I wanted to be on this board was so that we can help you get there, get to whatever the next step in your life is. So I appreciate all the members of the community who came in and took the time out of your day to actually investigate what we're about. And I will tell you right now, kids, that no matter who's on the board coming up, what I want to see is all of you take more part in this kind of process, because it is now more in your control than it ever has been. And the more you put in, the more you're going to get out of it. So that's what I hope to bring when I'm on the board. If I get to be on the board, I hope to bring it where you are now the people who are putting more into it, and where you become members of the community in whole, and not just we're going to school, but that's my school. Thank you.
With that, we will conclude today's event. Thank you all for coming. We will post this to the Optimist YouTube channel, hopefully by the weekend. Thank you.